And they've tried to lease this. Well,
Tried to lease it to,
to lease,
To lease it out to be drilled.
to be drilled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to give to somebody to lease it. Well, people would lease it, but there were so many heirs that the time it'd take two, 3 years, the lease period would run out. And then, then they'd be missing signatures, that people wouldn't sign it, or they just sat on it and didn't do nothing with it. So, what happened, Burl Tumlin down here, he is a relative of Arnold Moore. So he was part owner. So somebody, Ike Moore's or Mac Whirl, somebody bought his interest. In other words,
Burl
he told
Tumlin's.
Burl Tumlin, I'll give you a 50 whiskey if you'll sign over me your oil, what you own of the interest in this tract of land, 450 some acres.
And it happened to be just a small fraction, right, because there were so many
Yeah,
areas.
I don't know, might have been one 382nd or something, but anyway.
And that
Once
was-
you own a part of something, you can for sale, if it is not feasibly possible to divide it equally, you can for sale, and then you can divide the money. So you can divide money equally, but you can't divide oil rights. So they petitioned the courts to sell it.
what was the name of the company that bought it from him? Do you know?
Well, I'll get to it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. An inappropriate question.
So
Ill-timed.
it was Ike Moore's, Mac Whirl, and Bobby Ray was just getting started in that. So anyway, they got the lawyer, and his name was Perry. And they mailed everybody this packet of stuff about that thick, and listing all the heirs and their percentages that they had knowledge of, and it was going to be sold, at the courthouse, and they petitioned it to be sold. So we had a meeting, and
Little law quick.
we tried to what's she barking?
Connie.
We tried, so we said, well, if they're gonna sell it on the, yeah, shut that stupid dog up.
Don't let her out, jeez. Quick.
You're gonna sell it at the courthouse stairs, or at the courthouse, kinda, right?
Yeah. I'll wait till Chris gets back so he can hear.
Okay.
So they were gonna sell it on the courthouse steps to the highest bidder. So us as a family, meaning Jim and Omita's family, got the idea that they weren't going to buy it for a song. If they was going to bid it in, they was going to have to pay for it.
He's in the middle of his story and you have to sit down.
So we told,
I think she's in the bedroom.
now where were we?
They weren't gonna pay,
Okay, so we decided how much Jack could come up with to what he would be willing to put towards bidding it in, and what I could come up with. I was going to mortgage, get a mortgage on the house
Jeez.
to find out how much we could come up with. Max was gonna put some in it, you know, however he was gonna come. But everybody came up with the amount of money that we could actually bid. And it came to over I forget what, $120,000. And we tried, I went over to Basil's, he lived there at Sheffield. I went over there twice and tried to talk him into putting some money towards it, you know, so we could bid it in. And his attitude was, that ain't no good, ain't gonna amount to nothing, you know, I don't have no money, ain't gonna put no money in it. Somebody down here talked to Andy and Aunt Claire's, and they didn't want to put no money into it. They didn't want no part of it. Well, Max started negotiating, and between them, he told him, you know, you're not going to get it for a song. You know, we're going to bid it in. So it came down to the point was there was 450, I think there was 450 acres in the original tract, Artemore tract. Okay. The deal came down was that we would let them bid it in at the courthouse steps and not bid against them.
All right.
Then in turn, once they bid it in and got ownership of it, they would sell that back to us for what they bid for it, what they paid for it.
Oh, that makes sense.
With the option that we would let them drill, we would give them the lease.
Exclusive rights, kind of.
Yeah, they would get the lease, they'd sell it back. They would sell us back just they wouldn't sell us back, they would retain part of that 450 acres. And what we were buying back was what was actually under our surface, which was Mom's and Aunt Claire's. They had 98, we had 298. The 42 acres, that's on Diane Gooding now, above the bridge, towards the neck hole. That portion was not included. I mean, it was in the original sale, but they took that out, so they owned all the mineral rights underneath that 42 acres. We don't own anything underneath that 42 acres.
So that's one of the reasons she's probably so scared, being with her paranoia.
Well, but that's just that 42 acres. They drilled one well. Maybe I don't. Seemed to me like they drilled 11 wells on that 450 acres.
Mm-hmm.
But we only have 9 of them on us.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we retained the oil and gas rights underneath this property. They bought it, we bought it back on. They bought it at the courthouse steps under the stipulation that we weren't, and it was an agreement prior to the sale, that we wouldn't.
Because you guys just would have bid it back and forth and it would have shot up.
Yeah, I mean, we could have bid up to
$120,000,
$140,000. I mean, it seemed to me like, and they would have had to pay more than that.
When did this happen? 1980 something?
Oh goodness, I don't know.
Okay.
It was in the 80s, I'm sure, because
It
I
was,
I wasn't in high school yet, but I can remember you guys meeting down there, so that's
But
pretty
that's-
middle school.
Well, let me ask you.
That was one reason I was so perturbed at Mom that she would have it no other way that Aunt Claire's and Basil and Andy be included, or Aunt Claire's be included in that thing. And I wouldn't have let them, their share came to, I don't know, after the whole thing. I think they paid like $39,000 for the whole thing. I think that's what we had to pay for it.
Oh, wow.
So if we, so after it was all figured up, who, you know, percentage wise, who was gonna pay. Aunt Claire and them say, oh, that wasn't so much. We'll buy into it. I mean, we'll buy, you know, that's the thing, you know. And Mom, you know, I'd just say, hey, too late now, you know. I mean, if it was me, you know, I'd say, so the only reason that the Knights up there have any ownership in this royalty under this property, or their property, is because of the good hearteningness of Ormeta. You know, they wouldn't be, you know, nobody else wanted to, you know, because they went over and almost begged them to give money to it, you know? And they wouldn't do it.
So the question is it owned collectively, or is it divided up now? The mineral rights. In other words, does
Yeah, everybody still owns a certain percentage. If you look at that check you're getting,
okay.
it'll say what percentage of your royalty you
Yeah, it's
own.
like a percentage of a percentage.
Oh,
Well, no,
that's-
but the thing is it like down here, the mineral rights under there are part ours, part Debbie's, part Kathy's.
Well,
part-
now they weren't Debbie's until Betty died,
Okay.
because Jimmy was dead, and so he didn't even put any money into it. There wasn't any.
Oh, I see. But like the mineral rights under Debbie's house is partially owned by you.
This whole.
Yeah, we own, the percentage that we own is under the 300 and, well, the 98 acres with the Knights, and what was under,
So that
what
means
was 298 that Mom and Dad owned.
if for some reason, I'm not saying that this would happen, but if Debbie wanted to put a Marcellus thing up in Clapboard Run, and we said no, they couldn't do it. Since
No,
since
No, I
the stuff under Clapboard Run is partially owned by you, right?
Yeah, 'cause it was
the
part of
whole
Grandma's.
gas, yeah.
Yeah, so
I think I know the answer to this
it would
question.
take everybody to agree to have something here.
Or she could go together with an oil company and force sale.
They could force sale,
No.
that's right. They couldn't?
No. We do not have any control over the development of the oil and gas.
Oh, that's still with.
That's
what's the
still
company?
with Horizon Energy.
Horizon, okay.
They are the operators.
Can I clarify some, just to make sure I understand? What our family owns in the gas rights is not co-owned with the oil
No.
company at all. It's just the families. The only thing that they ended up was with the so many acres up on
The 42, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right.
And they have exclusive rights. Is that forever? The Horizon?
As long as they're producing well on this,
Wow, okay.
as long as they're producing well, they have producing rights.
Ray just corrected my spelling.
You spell Horizon H-E-R.
I don't look at the checks that close.
But that's, you know, so whether Debbie wants it up there doesn't make any difference. I mean,
Because Horizon
You-
has it up there.
if Horizon says that's the best place to drill it, that's where they're gonna drill it.
And if they would decide to do something like that, the original arrangement as far as the percentages and all that
Would stay the
is
same.
just gonna stay the same.
Well, I'm just wondering if Horizon has this, whether they can sell it or rent out
They
an
can
option.
sell it, they can sell it to anybody.
Okay. So the company could come in and they could sell that exclusive rights to another oil company
Yeah.
if the price.
They
is
have
right.
production rights.
Okay.
Well,
Now-
that clarifies that.
Huh?
I said that clarifies
Yeah,
that, you know.
that's great, thank you. And now, if I ever.
Now, that where they wanna build, you know, once they get their geologists in. Now, see what the West Virginia legislature now has passed. They have what they call pooling of the resources. So I don't know exactly how it works, but if they put a Marcellus well here on this property, and they still owned royalty under that property up there, Bob owns a royalty under that property up there, or some other, or I really don't know how it works. Even if they don't own it, if they drill and they go horizontal, that other property has to lease to them.
Just because they've chosen to drill, they're forced to lease.
Yeah, see, it used to be if you had a line fence, they could,
Yeah.
it was underneath, they could drill right here beside, but it takes oil out from this, so you're getting oil or gas from the other property. Because that's what they'd do a lot of times. They'd move in and they'd go right to that's where the first place they'd drill, if they didn't own the royalty under here. Well, now with this horizontal drilling, if they drill a thing and it's more economical to drill, instead of drilling 500 feet to that line fence and quitting, they go 1,500 feet and, underneath this property. So if they have the lease under here, my understanding, this property only has to lease to them. Or they don't have to lease, but whatever, they'll take an acreage, if there's 50 acres here and 150 acres here, then you get royalty for 50 acres and they get royalty for 150 acres.
Also,
so
it actually
percentage wise.
It actually does protect the adjacent mineral owners from, to some extent, they're going to get paid for horizontal well under their.
Yeah, whether they want oil well or not.
Okay. Where without this, they could just drill horizontal and anybody would take as much as they want and there'd be.
Well, without it, they couldn't drill past that line, that property line.
Oh.
Okay.
But the legislature passed that it's called forced pooling. In other words, they can force this property owner to some way. I don't know exactly how it worked, but that's what I understand that the West Virginia legislature has now passed.
Okay.
That seems very pro-oil company.
Well, yeah, that's what a lot of people, that's what but when they're paying, I guess it's, if they don't own a large enough chunk to warrant a horizontal well, this is a way to make it feasible for them to drill. And
Yeah. See, I don't like that. That's loss of liberty.
well,
You'd
that's
like
what
to
a lot
think-
of people.
You like to think
But
if
when
you
you-
own something, you own it, and you can do with it what you want to.
But they own, if with us, with us owning the oil and gas underneath of it, we may have a little more control than what somebody that the oil company owns all the oil and gas underneath.
Yeah.
They have priority over the surface of it.
I heard that, which
You
it
can't
blows my
stop
mind.
them. They can come in and build a road wherever they want it, and the platform and whatever, And but what they was trying to do was trying to require new leases. Because at the time that we signed our leases with Bob or something, that wasn't even, horizontal drilling wasn't even a thing that was anticipated. They didn't even know it was ever capable. So this is a whole new realm of way of extracting oil and gas. What some people are saying is, then that should mean that there should be a new lease contract drawn up, that you shouldn't be able to work off the old contract because it's totally out of the scope of what the original contract.
That has to be under the agreement of the contract holders. I don't see how the government can come in and say, well, you signed this contract, but I, as the government, decided it's no good. That's not right. You shouldn't be able to do that. Sorry.
Well, what they're saying is that the landowner, like us, if they're going to come in here and rather than settle for an eighth, renegotiate, be able to renegotiate that
Oh,
contract.
to renegotiate, as long as both sides want to do it, that's fine. But to force to renegotiate, I don't think is a good thing. It should be the option of anytime you have a contract,
Yeah, but,
both sides
okay,
can renegotiate.
what they're saying is, the old contract, a standard oil well lease was 1/8, okay? Well, with this horizontal, maybe if you own the oil and gas owner, maybe you should get,
2/8.
well, maybe not, yeah, or something,
Yeah.
come up with a quarter or,
But all
or
of that-
3/16 or,
But that shouldn't be, I don't think it should be mandated by law. I mean, that's part of the negotiation that you go back and forth with. You should be.
no, because, I mean, you can negotiate it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we own the oil and gas here, I mean, and somebody wanted to lease it, and you'd be willing to lease it for the same thing you're getting right now, 1/8.
Sure.
But why would you want to do that? In other words, what they're trying to say is to separate it. It is. It's with the horizontal. It's completely out of the realm of vertical drilling.
Yeah.
It's vertical drilling. So then, give everybody the opportunity to renegotiate at least if they want to.
If they want to.
If they want to. I mean, you'd be willing, you could give them, you could say, well, drill a horizontal and you can give me a 16th. I mean, I don't, some dumbass would do that, but,
Yeah.
but there's or you can say, give me the 8th, or you can say, give me 3/16.
Sure.
I don't want an 8th anymore. I want 3/16, or I want a quarter of it.
But you could also say, I don't want you to do it. I don't want everyone to renegotiate. And I kind of get the feeling you're saying that you have to.
Well, it may be. I don't know. I know they've already passed a law that you have to with this fourth pooling. You might not want to lease this. You might want to keep that gas underneath your ground in your service.
Yeah, exactly.
But with this forced pooling, it's force, F-O-R-C-E, force pooling. In other words, it's a pool. And you can't keep somebody from going in and getting that pool of oil. It's in a pool, a lake.
It sounds like.
You can't.
It's like eminent domain almost, where the government tells you what you have to do with your land and what you have to do with the stuff you own. And I guess that kind of irks me a little bit. I would rather remain in control of what is owned.
We're in a little different. They talk about where oil companies have purchased the oil. They own the oil and gas underneath. All you own is the surface.
Yeah.
Then the surface owner gets screwed. You can't do.
The mineral rights or the coal rights that we screwed up and didn't pay the taxes
Coal.
on.
The
Was
coal?
it coal? Was it coal rights?
Well,
Remember, this was the new
Years
topic.
back?
Yeah, about a year back. And
they sold the coal. We don't own the coal anymore.
underneath here.
No.
We never did own it.
No, it's over.
There's a Gluck Run down
Yeah.
between Sandfork and
Okay, but we own the coal collectively because it's a mineral now.
under here.
Yeah,
No, coal is separate.
coal is separate, okay. But you were saying nobody wants coal anymore.
No, I don't know. But the coal, somebody else owns the coal on this property. We don't own the coal.
Okay.
The only place that I know there's an outcropping of coal is up behind the church. And they used to go up there and dig domestic coal. And it's right on the, I always wanted to take the tractor up there and see if I could find where they dug it out.
Yeah,
I found an indentation up there, because it was just an indentation. It wasn't like a washout from a ravine or anything.
Right.
It was just an indent, and I think that's where it was. I got to almost bet that's. I don't know if I can find it again since.
Connie's been watching these, what do they got, a repo? What? Those shows where people think the world's gonna end.
Oh, Armageddon's preparers or something.
Preppers.
Preppers.
Huh?
Preppers.
Preppers,
Yeah, preppers.
Yeah, I'm a prepper, you're a prepper.
Lynn Beck advertises that food.
Yeah.
Supposed to be good for 25 years or something, or.
Yeah.
You know, Connie wants to come down here, and I said, you can't come here from Texas. The gas, and she's preppers. They put little stashes, you know, on the way so they can get home. And, you know, we can get maybe Elizabeth, you know, in right next to Bucksnort to do something. And I said, man, if it goes south, they're not going to be true to you if they have to feed their families. They're going to sell that.
She say stash gasoline
Yeah.
for vehicles to get here.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to do a long road, dig up a little
Well,
caches and.
I tried explaining to her Fort Hood's like 50 miles south of us. You think we're gonna live through nuclear attack? Second biggest army base on the planet? No.
Now that comes to another thing. The 32 and a half acres of oil and gas.
Down by the neck hole? Or,
No,
where?
no, this is that we didn't pay the taxes
Oh,
off, and
okay.
Ed Broom bought them,
Yeah.
and we're still sitting on it. He's bought it, but we've got until
Yeah, I saw that.
April of
letter.
next year or something
Yeah.
to buy it back in. I went down and talked to him, and he said come back in July. I asked him. I said, would you consider selling it? He paid around $1,000 for it. I don't know exactly what. But I told him, I'd give him, we could give you some, the $1,000 plus some profit. And I said, would you consider agreeing to selling it to us, And, he said, well, I may. He said, he said, come back in July, and I'll have it all. He's got a guy that works down there at the courthouse all the time, just searching deeds and stuff. And he'll know. He said he would know about where it was and who owned it. Meaning,
Wow.
us, our heirs, who.
Oh, I see.
There's the more something.
UG Moore.
UG Moore.
Heirs is what it
Heirs,
says.
yeah,
UG
right.
Moore heirs is
Yeah,
what
I
it
saw
says
the
on
the house.
is what it says. But I can show you. I know where it's at.
Did
You
Kurt
don't
mention
wanna
to you
lose
somebody
your
was
house.
looking for you
don't wanna
and
lose your
Yeah.
you
house.
about?
In
Okay.
Waco.
I didn't know if that might have something to do with that, or he said it was
that
the
was
forestry department or something, but I just wondered if maybe that was covered.
Where's mine?
You looking for that green thing? I carried it in here. I don't know what happened to it after that. Mom must have. Here it is. Is this what you're looking for?
No.
Oh.
No, one of these bags I had that taxes in. There's inside. I'm having a heck of a time keeping up with all this stuff.
Need a rolling filing cabinet to go with you. You want something to drink on?
No, I'm good. Thanks. I don't know if they're big fans of each other. Diana said, she said, yeah, I've had a run in with Gene.
Yeah, about the timber.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm gonna pee while you're looking.
Well, this is the house thing, boy. That's not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for the other.
Hey, Connie. You want some Dr. Pepper?
I brought one.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Mom, you want anything to drink?
No, I got some water there.
Oh,
Gene,
in
what
here.
are you
Here, it's in
looking
here.
for?
In here it is. I see the bag. I know where it is. Never mind. Oh,
No snacks.
Oh, there's chips. Don't you have
Well, I
chips?
know, but I mean, no.
Sweet.
Where are you,
I'm
fellas?
not gonna do that.
No cookies?
Nope, I didn't bring anything like that. I ended up buying them.
Where'd Bobby go?
He ain't at the restroom. You want something to drink? Some 7-Up or Dr. Pepper or something? Dr. Pepper?
Nah. Had that leaf someplace. Look at that.
Oh, this is where it's at?
Huh?
Okay.
Let me get this thing up.
That's upside down.
Wrong side out. Okay. This is in 1921.
Jeez. I'm gonna take a picture.
Oh, I got a copy there.
Oh, dear, okay.
This was made in 1921.
Yeah,
Now by Bernard Conrad, B.R. Conrad. This plat represents the
position, the
portion the portion of the Arnold Moore home tract that was allotted to U.G. Moore in the division between him and J.L. Moore, Joe Moore. That's his brother. That
Joe
the house-
Shrum?
Huh? No.
Okay.
Down over where Bate McHenry below the schoolhouse.
Okay,
Where-
yes.
Remember the old house that was down
Yeah,
there? That
yeah.
was Joe Moore's property.
Okay.
It went over the hill here and back down that way. And Joe Moore, also 21.13 acres of the adjoining tract known as the Lynch land. Total area 378.78 acres. Surveyed March 1920 by B.R. Conrad. Now you see this right here? Mm-hmm. That is called Lynch land. Okay?
Really?
That did not go for sale on that for sale at the courthouse. That was not included in this.
Oh, so Lynch Land,
So we own this 32 acres, which there's a point, there's a pin right up there, and it goes diagonally up over the hill, and it comes, you know where you go up on Old Baldy and where you go into the woods coming around this way?
I think so.
And there's a little flat that goes on out that way. It comes out from that flat and there's to that ridge. Evidently, Arnold Moore bought that when off of Lynch, and this is almost the ridge line.
Okay,
Rather than coming down over the side of the hill, he probably said, "I've seen the deed. I've got the deed someplace. Mr. Lynch, I'll buy that off of you and let's make the line fence up on the ridge,
yeah.
rather than down here on the side." Now that's at 32 acres, I'm sure that he bought. Now we own all the oil and gas over that. Now I don't know who owns it. If that was never separated,
So somebody else owns that, but we own the oil and gas.
well,
correct?
this portion up to here is on us. This 21.13 acres, and the 9.9 acres is over on the other side of the hill on Joe Moore.
Ah, okay.
And it's Tumblins now?
Well, it
Or you know
used to
that's the one
be
you don't
Berlin
own.
bought, but I don't know who owns it now. But we need to get to the courthouse and find out if this was ever separated from the land. What I mean separated is the reason this old ref was separated, Granddad needed money. And
For Randolph.
whatever, well, not for whatever. He said there was an out called Guffey and Daly that owned part of this original when it was sold at the courthouse step.
Mm-hmm.
And he sold a portion of the oil and gas royalty to them for a certain amount of money.
Okay.
So the oil and gas was separated from the land. Okay? In other words, it became, at one time, the land and the oil and gas was all once.
Yeah, okay.
Well, the landowner said, well, I want to use the money, I'll sell the oil and gas off from underneath of it.
Gotcha.
To get my money. So that means somebody else owned the oil and gas, he owned the surface. If this was never separated, then that it automatically goes to the property owner. I mean, when you
Right.
buy the property, you buy everything with it if it hasn't been separated.
Yeah.
The deed should state excluding the oil and gas. I mean, if
that was the way it was.
That way it was, and so if that was never separated, you and I are the sole owners of it.
Instead of the way it's stated, the UG Moore heirs.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know.
Okay, I
I don't
see.
know if it was ever separated. But evidently, when they done this research at the courthouse, that became a no man's land. You know, I don't guess anybody can figure out your dad. I'm sure it was your dad or your mom. No, I think it was your dad.
Mom wouldn't do it.
No, I meant my mom.
Oh, your mom.
Old Eula.
Okay. Yeah.
Would have they bought up the taxes from 19 way back. In other words, these taxes were all delinquent. The court never knew it, or the county tax audit never knew it until this thing came about. Jack went down or my mom went down and they paid the taxes, all the back taxes, up until whenever this 92
I think it was Dad.
or something, yeah. He bought that, he paid all the delinquent taxes. From back, it didn't amount to too much, I can't remember. It was $40 or so. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah.
Is that right?
I think that's why you paid it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. But, you know, I don't know, you or Connie one was saying you was paying taxes and you never knew where it was at, you know. You've been paying taxes on this but that's where it's at.
I see.
I bet you a nickel to a donut that's what that is. But we need to go down there. Arnold Moore bought this, not UG.
Arnold Moore bought it,
So
not UG.
So I'm thinking.
Why didn't it go to UG? Oh, that's on Joe's
Well, it did go.
property.
It did go to UG.
Okay.
But Arnold is the one who bought the property originally.
Yeah.
Off of Lynch. It wasn't Granddad. It was Arnold.
Yeah.
That's the deed that he bought it off the Lynches. But when they separated it with Joe Moore and UG Moore, Joe Moore got this and UG got this.
I see. Okay.
So if we've been paying taxes on 32 acres,
How
we've
much-
been paying taxes on this and this. This is on Joe Moore. This is on me and you, right up here on the hill.
So we should own it, right?
Well, if it's never been separated, that's what I say. Somebody needs to go down to the courthouse
Oh, jeez.
and do a deed search and see if it was ever separated from.
Couldn't we just go down there and ask them?
No,
They won't do that for you?
they don't know.
Nah.
They don't.
Even what was her name you used to work out there?
Harry Joe's, no, Harold's wife.
Yeah, she wouldn't even do that. I mean, you know.
Oh, come here, Ray, do you understand this?
I know what you're talking. I think I know what you're talking about.
Well, but anyway, that's where that piece of land is that we're paying tax, that he bought, that 32 acres that he purchased.
Gotcha, okay.
And I'm sure that's where he's at.
Okay, let me get situated here. I'm terrible in directions, so
Okay.
let me, right here's,
This is,
Sand Fork and.
come on over here, Ray, let's take a look here.
okay.
He was
This-
saying right over here is where we're paying the.
Yeah. see
Part of
that?
this they're talking about is on us, and the other part's over
Okay.
where Basil Tumblin's property.
This, right here is Moore's Run. See this line right here?
Right.
There's Granddad's house at the time.
Sure,
This house is right there right now.
gotcha.
Okay, the road, where's the pin? Just, my house is right in here someplace.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the road is coming right through here. Okay. This is where that gate. Remember the old gate that was
Yeah,
right there? That's where the gate was, right here. So there's a pin up on the bank. Chris and I and the boys went up there. We finally found it. But that's there's a pin. That's where when the separation was doing, the Smith surveying put one in there. Originally, it was a beech tree.
Oh my
But
gosh.
now it's a pin.
Okay.
It's a pin now. But anyway, it's up the bank 116 feet, 108 feet.
Yeah, something like that.
Up the bank from the road.
So where's the cabin? Right here.
It's down here somewhere.
My house is right here.
Right
The
there.
cabin's up in here.
Right in there, okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, on up the hollow.
Okay.
This.
Okay, so it's up the hill a little bit.
So yeah, this was, I think from the road it was 116 feet. And then it goes catty cornered. And this is where it comes down off of the hill. Old Baldy is right here. Okay? And this is where you go, we come up here and go around the flat. You know, come into the woods and the road. Around the hill.
Yeah,
Okay. And this flat comes all the way around there. And that, we measured down from here to here, and this point almost ends up right on that flat. So it goes from this point straight across. And this is 21.12 acres. That's on us.
yeah.
And then it goes on around the ridge and around that and onto Joe Moore. We'll point out here someplace. I don't know where those are. But Gene Johnson says there's a guy down at Sand Fork that does that.
Does what? Does.
Search deeds. And,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
that you can hire.
I would have no idea even how to start.
Well,
something to do
Deb
that.
says it's kind of simple. You just go in there and you start, you know, you find a starting place and you work yourself backwards. And, you know, it'll tell you from what book it's recorded in, and you go get that one, and then you know, and it'll tell you, and you read that, and you take notes, and
So you start from a more current.
yeah, work
Property
yourself
transfer or
backwards.
something, then-
Yeah, or a point where you know, like we have a deed, or we have a bill of sale or a deed where, you know, Arnold bought it. It's someplace, I don't know where it's at now. I should have been with this, but for some reason, I don't have it with me.
Well, you did make me. I don't know that I have any original stuff, but you made me copies
Of all
and
this
put
stuff.
together a packet for me that I have at the condo of the oil and gas. So if you can't find it, maybe there's a copy.
Well, no, this wouldn't be for oil and gas, this would be for land.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I've got it someplace, it's in one of the, but
So
I
you have a
run these
copy?
off if you want.
Oh, yeah, I do.
But, you know, I'm gonna put my house right. Yeah, see the old barn is right in here someplace.
Yeah.
And my house is right in here someplace. And this is the road.
I mean, what happens if you've been paying the taxes on somebody else's taxes for all these years?
It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
It's still, you can pay who, you've been paying taxes for, maybe 150 years, It's still
Right.
theirs.
Yeah, and they say thank you.
Yeah, well, maybe
Yeah,
if
they
you're
say
lucky.
Don't seem fair, does it?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense in some weird way.
But that's the way if we go down there and reclaim that, and buy it back, or pay the, what do I want to say, what do you call it? Delinquent taxes. If we pay them into the state and get it back into our name, then all the heirs still own it again. So if I could buy that off since he already, if he would have given me agreement, the state would have to give him a deed for it, basically like we did with the oil and gas years
who a
ago.
deed?
Give him a deed for it.
Give who a deed?
The Ed Broom, the guy that bought the taxes.
I see.
After that date, 2 years ago, he'd have to get a deed for it before he could do anything. But what we need to do was, if he would agree to take a profit of 200, 500, whatever you could deal with.
Then you could buy it off.
Then you could buy it, and if you make an agreement with me, well, you paid $1,000 for it. You spent this much money searching out who owned it and leases and everything. We'll pay for that and give you a profit of,
fair profit.
Yeah.
what
Whatever
we
you got
what
from
we
the
thought
bank.
it was worth, and then get him to sign an agreement. Then once it's deeded over to me, for this amount of money, I'll sell it to you. And I don't know whether he'll do that, but we'll have to. You have to get a commitment from him.
But if you pay your delinquent taxes, wouldn't it revert right back to you anyway?
No, it would come back to all of the Moore heirs.
Oh,
You're gonna come back to all you G. Moore heirs.
okay.
I don't know. I don't know whether this has been separated.
Okay, so you're gonna get it just for you all instead of the whole big group.
If we buy it off of
Yeah,
Ed Broom after it's
Got
deeded to
it.
him,
Okay, I
they're not in it anymore.
I understand, right.
But if we just go to the state and pay the delinquent taxes, then everybody's back in it
I
again.
got you. Yeah.
And the other thing is, that goes along with this is Dad saying it might not be all the heirs that own it. If
If
hadn't been separated
if the
back
oil
on
and gas
the-
hasn't been
Right.
separated from this piece of ground, then
Okay, I got you.
it goes, if you buy the land, you buy the oil and gas with it, Or if you inherit the land, you
Right, you get, yeah.
it goes with it.
You could be a real estate lawyer, I think.
No,
No, I agree. Heck no.
Ah, that's interesting.
It's complicated.
Complicated.
So that's for that whole section there?
now what you gotta realize, it's
That's
only
30 acres.
32 acres. But what would 32 acres mean if you owned
What was
the
next
whole
to
thing?
it? Yeah.
But with the standard lease, you'd still only get an eighth of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We own everything here. It cost us, I think it was around $3,900 if I remember correctly. Or no, I mean 39,000 or something like that. I don't know exactly. So it was a sizable piece of money they paid for it.
So there were people down there bidding against them. And what they ended up buying it for was you're speculating $39,000.
I don't remember if anybody, but we was there, and I don't know if anybody bid against them or not. Maybe they did. I'm sure somebody was bidding against Ed Broom with him paid $1,000 for 32 acres. Somebody must have been bidding him, this past summer, because he wouldn't have paid that much for it. Because the tax that was due on it was only $200 and some dollars. But it adds up, because every time they advertise that, especially them stupid, they were selling them coal lease deeds. That when we let them go. So every time they advertise, that was $20. So that was every time they advertised that was $20 for each one. So if you let them know they're delinquent to go back and renew them, they advertise them 3 times. So 7 times 20 is $140 times 3 for 3 times that they advertise them. Shit, that last time I bought them in, it was 600 something bucks.
Jeez.
I ain't doing it no more. And I tried to get them lowered. You know, the taxes lowered, because Betty was paying them for a while, and the whole thing with the coal taxes was only running like $24 for the whole 7 tracks, you know?
Right.
Well, she let them go delinquent, and I went down there and bought them back in and told them, I said, well, just make them mail them to me, you know? Well, gee whiz, when I started getting them, there was, 1 track was $200 and some for tax.
I remember that, yeah.
So it gave them like an opportunity to reassess the taxes.
Yeah, I
or
don't know
something.
what the shit they were
Oh my
doing.
gosh.
Some guy out of Bridgeport bought it. I whooped the shit, he knew what he was doing.
Okay.
But I did find out if you own the coal, you can fill out a form and put it in the courthouse. And oil well drillers can only drill, right now on bare land, they can put a well 1,000 feet apart. But if you fill that form out and put it in there, they can only drill 1,500 feet apart.
Wait, what was it again? In general, they can do how far?
The wells have to be 1,000 feet apart.
Okay.
And
If you clean the coal under it,
if you claim the coal under it,
it's
and filled out this form and filed it in the courthouse, it went from 1,000 to 1,500 feet. But I never did. I run off the form, but I never did fill it out and send it in.
Does that help protect the coal?
Yeah, because every time they punch a hole through a seam of coal, you gotta work, you gotta leave that much.
Oh.
You can only work within so far of a well casing.
Oh, yeah,
You
it
know.
diminishes your,
So you're losing, the coal owner is losing
Just because they went after the
the
oil
oil
and gas.
before the coal, That's even with limestone. If there's limestone on this, we didn't own limestone. That goes with minerals. That goes with coal.
what if we
really,
find gold?
limestone goes with coal?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's classified as a mineral.
if we find
What
gold,
about-
we don't tell no one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's not yours. It's whoever owns the mineral.
What if there's oil in the limestone? I mean, isn't that what they're fracking? Sucking out the
shale.
oil from
Shale.
shale? Oh, okay.
But that's what they're doing with the coal. There was a big argument with the coal gas. They're drilling and going horizontal in coal seams.
Oh, I didn't
and
know
getting
that.
methane gas out of the coal. Well, the coal company, the people owning the coal, said that's my gas. It's in my coal.
Oh, so the
And the
methane-
oil and gas people saying no, that's gas. It comes underneath our control. It was one big hole.
And what was the resolution? Did they figure
I
it
don't
out?
know, but I mean, that was a big heck of a load. But which makes sense, right?
Yeah, I can
If
see
there's
it either
gas in
way.
your vein of coal,
Somebody breaks your coal to get the gas out. How can they?
Yeah,
Is that
no,
basically
damn
what
it.
they have to do to?
Yeah.
years
I mean,
what
I
the
can
coal
see it
company
both
said
ways.
years ago, they have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars of ventilating that gas, to get rid of it.
Oh, they burn it off,
because,
yeah.
because putting them big fans is so well it becomes explosive. Well, the oil and gas people didn't want it then. So they said it's not mine. I don't have to get it out of that coal vein. So it makes sense in the long run. I mean, if you think about it. But anyway, that's the story, and I'm sticking to it.
It's just, it's so crazy that you have to have almost a law degree to kind of hang on to what's yours,
Anymore.
That's the frustrating part.
Well,
These
you let
stupid
this stuff
laws.
get away from you. See this, play things like that.
Yeah, yeah. But again, you know, if you didn't spend the time, if you didn't spend the time figuring this out, you know, what would,
Well, Ed Broom would own it.
yeah.
You know, he's paying the guy to go down and research. And all the records are down in that courthouse, you know. And all you have to do is go down there and dig it out. I don't know if you really took something to court like this. I don't know if they would take, if you have to be a professional, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A certified
You probably do.
a deed counter or a deed looker upper. Or
So you see, you couldn't employ yourself to fight somebody in court. You'd have to.
yeah,
hire somebody.
I don't know if you could go down yourself and do it or not.
I
You
think
probably
you'd
have to get a
end up-
lawyer to do it.
Yeah, but see, the lawyers would come in and they play these little technical games, you know,
Yeah.
that you have no idea what's going on. And that's the reason you gotta end up paying these people.
I mean, I was raised that, you know, the law is black and white. You're breaking it or you're not breaking it, you know, and boy, that isn't the way it goes, is it? Whew,
Yep. Now
took
it
me a
comes
long
to
time to figure that out.
how much you pay your lawyer if you're breaking it or not.
Yeah,
And just look like, that Harry Reid, you know, when he told said about Mitt Romney not
paying his taxes.
didn't pay any taxes. At the time, he knew it was a lie, and now he laughs about it. You know,
What,
well, he didn't win, did he? Yeah, it did. Jesus.
what a slime ball.
I'm gonna run back up to the house. I'm zonkered. I need to take a shower.
Check this out.
Lay down.
A
What's that?
giant inflatable movie screen for your backyard.
Ooh, I want one.
Kind of neat. You gotta have the projector, of course.
Yeah,
You got a projector, don't you?
no, not anymore. Everything's got a big screen now.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And backyard.
What is it? Is this like this fly thing, or what is this?
Consumer Reports.
Oh, Consumer Report, okay.
Oh, you're thinking the Sky Mall.
Sky Mall, I love those things. I didn't know there was so much stuff I needed. Until I read that thing. You read it and you say, I want this, it's really good, it's
Well,
really
that'd be nice to have
good.
that. Huh?
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
That's what you all said about me.
We were always talking about up at the cabin, putting a big sheet up in the side of the mountain and projecting onto the sheet and watching something.
You would have to have one heck of a big projector to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
You'd have to have,
Yeah, it's
like the
aluminum.
power of a searchlight almost behind that.
Like a drive-in theater.
Yeah.
You know that drive-in theater over there by the turnpike and
Yeah.
it's still there.
Is it really? It's
Yeah,
still
two
open?
streets, yeah.
Really? I thought they closed all those.
That was
You
still
know, or made
there.
them into flea markets or, you know, stuff like that.
This one's over there by the,
I remember that. Yeah, the
North
turnpike,
Ridgeville.
was it Route
Yeah.
10 or?
yeah. mhm.
Yeah, drive by there, it'd always be, you know, you could see the movie screens from the road and see what they were playing.
Or was it?
Yeah.
They were showing some, what the heck was it? They had a drive-in theater and they were showing some R-rated movie or something. and
Oh, yeah,
the
porno.
kids from the school or something could look right out.
I only ever went to Cloverleaf and
Yeah, that one went
Memphis.
into a
Yeah,
flea
the
market.
one in Memphis I went to. That's really it. And then I went with Bob and Connie to see the Muppet movie at a drive-in theater when it was out. I remember that.
Didn't, you never went to the Glenville one?
No,
When it was
I
there?
had one in Glenville.
Where for Foodland's at?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
really?
And,
No,
yeah.
I don't recall that.
No, you know. Bob went with Eula mine.
Yeah,
Went
third-
with Courtney.
I counted to 30 kisses. I did, that was funny.
It must have been a good movie then.
No. Oh, I remember seeing the Brides of Dracula there.
Down at Glenville?
Yeah, I saw Brides of Dracula there.
I don't like that movie.
Did you notice how bright it was outside last night when you left?
The movie.
Yeah, you could
Oh,
see
yeah.
the shadow from the trees
Trees?
down the hollow.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
really super bright.
Yeah, it was.
Didn't need a
God's
flashlight?
LED.
Not last night. That was one bright moon. Made me squint when I looked at
But
it.
that's the Lynch lands.
Okay. So, where are we on taxes and stuff? Do I owe stuff? I need to get my ducks in a row, because I really don't know what's.
No, I
happening.
wrote
can't-
into the state, I called the state,
Yeah,
down to the state auditor, and, you have to do it from the state now, you don't do it from the county. But, she told me how much it would be, I forget, and she sent it to me over the internet, and, I've got it someplace, but, I was kinda holding off, waiting until July. to
Well,
see
see
what
what
happens.
happens.
See what happens, yeah.
If nothing satisfactory comes with him, then, or if he wants too much, you know.
yeah.
But it still would like to know who owns it.
So,
not you.
yeah, exactly. How much would that guy searching deeds
I don't
charge?
know. I really don't know. Gene, maybe if I can see Gene right, I can get a hold of him.
Yeah.
Find out what his name is again, and,
Gene Johnson.
yeah, Gene Johnson.
'Cause I'd really, like to do some major chipping in if,
But
if
there
it's
again, I
needed.
don't know, how much is it worth?
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, Ray.
okay, we'll see you then.
Alright, you can ride back with her then.
No snoring.
I can't guarantee it now. I don't know. That bed's too soft.
Oh, is it?
Well,
Yeah,
sleep
bed
on the
she
floor,
got-
man.
She got, the real cushy, like the body contours
Oh,
into
Those
it.
are good beds. Do
Yeah.
you sleep too good, or does it hurt your back?
I wake up and I'm sore.
Oh,
I do too.
I'm like,
I do too.
I'm sore than the one I
Is it
left.
a-
I do too, and the women love
Is it a
that.
queen or
It's a queen, I believe.
or a twin?
I don't know. My feet kind of hang off.
Yeah, I don't know if a queen does any longer than
yeah, I think they're
Twin.
all about the same
not a
length until
twin,
you
but a
get
full
to a.
bed, or rather, a full
Yeah,
bed.
I don't know. It's pretty big. Watch length, width-wise, but
Oh.
long length. I can put my head right up at the edge. My feet.
I was gonna say, Chris has got two
But we haven't
a full mattress and box springs down on the bottom.
Oh, is that what that brass bed was? A full?
No, come off
Because there's
of that bed you had in there. You remember you had that full bed behind the screen
oh,
in your room?
oh. Well, then that one, the Vreelands, there's a queen. I think it's a queen. So.
No, I think that was the brass bed.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yet. Anyway, we took a set of mattresses that
Oh, okay.
he had down there,
Right.
but they're full for a full bed.
I think I'm just used to a harder mattress.
Yeah.
I'm just,
They're
maybe I
better
get
for you
used
to
to it
sleep
for a
on.
while, but right now. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, Ray.
See you, Ray.
Yeah, well, I'd take a little power. And, I was sitting back, these little drawers you pull out with like the keyboards underneath, and then you can push them back. So I sat back in my chair, and I have a terrible history for stubbing my toe. I stubbed my toe playing Scrapple one time. I cut my toenail with big scissors, and I left it real jagged, and we were playing Scrapple, and so I got up and ran going to the kitchen. My toe, just like Velcro, it cut on the carpet. And I kept on going, but my toe didn't. And all of the side of my foot was black and blue, so. It's okay, but this one was as good. So I was sitting in my chair, and I leaned back and I put my feet up on this thing that pulls out, and my feet flared and they were uncomfortable. So I got my right foot next to the little barrier there, but my left foot I couldn't make it. So I stood it up, and the toe next to my big toe I kind of tucked underneath so it wouldn't fall over. And then I went to sleep, and then I had one of those dreams where you're falling, and I went boom, and my whole body jumped except for that little toe. And it got black and blue. So I stubbed my toe in my sleep even.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So that was my, and I thought that's the name with my age right now. When I put together my band, did I tell you the name?
Yeah, so the Power Nap.
PowerNet, that's right. Yeah, that's a good name.
It is.
Yeah, it's very good. You still got your stuff upstairs still?
I don't have it hooked up,
Oh, you don't? Okay.
but we'll, sometime before you go back.
Well, yeah, I wanna buy that stuff. I wanna get enough to do a little,
Yeah.
enough to be dangerous, I suppose.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to be able to do.
I kick and carry on a lot when I sleep, and I'm sleeping in Lisa's in the basement. The bed's next to a poured concrete wall that's got brick texture poured into it. And 2 or 3 times now I've kicked the skin off of my toes,
What?
kicking at a concrete wall while I'm
What?
sleeping.
Now, why did you
I
you
have
wake up-
dreams like that. Yeah, I'm kicking. I'm always kicking in my sleep, and I'll kick that stupid wall. Ow!
Do you
Then you
really?
go back and then you wake up.
Oh, I've woke myself up
Oh.
kicking it before, yeah, because it's like, wow, that hurts. And the
You
next
should,
thing,
uh,
my socks are bloody. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I kicked that
Is
wall.
it
last
like
night.
restless leg syndrome? Do you know? Is that, you
They
ever heard
they
of that?
say I have a deep sleep disorder.
Okay.
It's it was likely from chronic sleep deprivation when I was sick and on the pain medication too. And it's like I just act out in my dreams. I'll scream and won't wake myself up.
Oh, I bet you that
You know-
makes for exciting roommates, huh?
Well, it only started happening since, I was married to Kelly and living in a condo. And one day it was so bad, in the morning she's getting ready for work and I'm screaming. And she got out of the shower before she was done, came to wake me up in the bed to get me to quit screaming because our bed's adjacent to the neighbor's condo. And we ended up having to tell the neighbors what was going on so they would know, when they heard me screaming at 4 o'clock. She called it the witching hour between 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, is I usually carrying on. So the neighbors would understand, I wasn't beating my wife or something. I was having fits in my sleep.
That would be kind of crazy.
But I would also jump out of the bed and throw myself against stuff while I would have bruises all over me. I'd do that while I was asleep.
So you would wake up exhausted sometimes.
Yeah, and beat myself up.
What this says, the inclination, the magnetic north,
Where were you reading that?
the link right underneath your thumb.
Right here?
No,
Right here.
your thumb,
Oh, the other
right
thumb.
hand.
Okay, I have 2 thumbs. Okay.
Read it.
1,
Magnetic, 1 inch equals 40 poles.
40 poles.
40 horizontal.
You think that stands for poles?
Yeah,
How come?
40 poles is 660 feet.
40 poles.
So is a pole actually something they would
One
lay in
pole,
the end
one
of-
pole is 16 and a half feet.
So
Yeah,
at one
it's
time
yeah,
they
a
would
pole
use
is a
pole,
measurement, yeah.
Kind of like a cubit.
cubit. Was that
Is
measured by your arm or something?
16 and a half feet?
What's that?
A pole is 16 and a half feet?
One pole is 16 and a half feet.
Okay.
Wasn't a cubit from your elbow to your tip of your
I've got it written right
fingers or something? Like
Oh,
that?
you do. Oh, okay. That's probably where you
So 40 poles would be 1 inch equals 660 feet.
Okay. So horizontal. Oh, there's magnetic north. Okay. What does it say after that? Magnetic north.
Magnetic north, delineate the,
It's deviation,
yeah, probably that's about deviation.
standard
yeah.
deviation.
January the 24th, 1921, Glenville, West Virginia, 2 degrees 10 west. 2 degrees 10 minutes or 10 seconds? 10?
2 degrees 10
Minutes.
minutes. Yeah.
10 minutes west. That's the deviation off of due north,
Yeah.
magnetic north.
Yeah.
So,
When he done the survey.
And that changes.
How
all the
did he
time.
know
Yeah, that
what?
changes all the time.
How did he know what true north was?
How did you know what true north is?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he used a sextant and a star.
Okay.
I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm not a Boy Scout.
Yeah, I don't either.
I thought north was north. I didn't know it changed.
Well, I should remember this from flying. Magnetic north is not the north it's not the one that the Earth spins in. That's true north, right?
True north is pointing exactly to the North Pole.
And that's different. And true north is where the axis of rotation is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then magnetic north is somewhere off of that.
Yeah, so many degrees off of that. That's my understanding. It's
Yeah.
so many degrees off of the axis point.
That's what I think.
Which got to be right then if all three of us agree.
It must be true.
We can assume that is correct.
I'm just trying to think, I mean, if you were out here, how would you determine what true north was? But maybe
Say
you could
the stars.
maybe you could, if you knew, because they put that deviation in charts. Somebody else had figured it out. If he had the deviation, could he figure out what true north was with his compass?
Well, I don't know. He's stating what the deviation is. You know, doesn't the federal government, don't they publish?
Yeah, it's on all the
seems like they
aviation
should.
charts. It says, and they have to publish them so
So you-
often.
Often. I'll bet that's where, I bet he got,
He looked it up in a book.
Huh?
He looked it up in a book.
I'll bet you,
Yeah.
some records that, yeah, that.
Well, is that note, was that placed by the guy who made the map that did the
Yeah.
survey? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he probably had some publication he had to refer to.
But that's the way they survey, you know, if you read all these, see, this is south 61 degrees, 5/8 west, 46.2. Now, is that 46.2 poles? Probably, because it looks like it's about 1 inch, a little over an inch between them two dots.
Have you kept these at full scale? Or, I mean, the original?
I think so, yeah. Yeah,
Oh, that's the original, isn't it?
no.
It isn't?
No,
It,
this is
it,
a copy.
looked, really?
I think the original's down in that book that Betty's got, Debbie's
Oh,
got.
okay. I thought the plastic around it. was-
Well, I did that so I could carry it out and then I laminated.
Oh, I see.
I
Okay,
laminated it.
okay. Gotcha.
Artificially aged.
What's our, yeah.
No, I done this so I could take it out and it wouldn't get, I could wipe it off.
It doesn't, well, I guess it is. It's the original map just with that plastic on, but it's yellow, like, so it makes it look like it was always that way. I'm just talking about the way that thing looks.
Oh, yeah. What's his name? Smith Land Surveying had done this division,
Yeah,
the surveying down at Glenville. He wanted me to give him the original. I
yeah.
said, no. He said, I got a whole collection of them. I'm not gonna get this one.
So is it true that this isn't really a functioning document anymore because it's been superseded by the one that Smith did? Hence the reason he wanted to keep it. They basically trumped this when they
resurveyed the
yeah.
out boundary, probably,
So
yeah.
you couldn't use this for legal purposes. You'd have to get the most current survey.
It depends.
Well, I don't know.
It depends if this contains stuff that wasn't passed down. You know,
Oh, okay.
you know, like why you buy title insurance, right? In case people go back and you say, well, look, on this deed, it said this and this, and they ignored it when
See-
they did this.
See, what they have problems of doing with surveying is get things to close.
Oh, when they go around in the circle?
When they go all the way around and they don't close someplace,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it drives them nuts, but, you know, it happens a lot. But I think Bernard Conodo, from all I can hear about him, he was good, he was accurate, you know, he didn't fudge shit.
Well, that's what George Washington did too, wasn't it? He went around and did survey, probably did a lot of maps.
You said
Well, I
one
think
time-
he worked with somebody, though, wasn't he? I mean, I think he, but yeah, he done a lot of surveying, yeah.
you had found out that this property was owned by Washington?
No, that was, I'm telling you what Kent told
Kent,
me, and
yeah, Kent.
I don't know where he got it.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know either.
But,
What they said that Patsy, Melba's sister,
mhm,
done a lot of ancestral research,
yeah,
and that might be where they got it from. But I've never heard that stuff before.
yeah. What's Melba's maiden? Garrett. I'm having a blank out. There's Kent, and then there's
Steve,
Steve. Steve was telling me that his relatives had some sort of diary where they talked about George Washington coming over for dinner or something. So and I asked him to send it to me, and last time I saw him, he says, I looked at it and I couldn't find it. So, so it's one of the things you'll
I
never
think
know.
Patsy, as I say, Patsy done. I guess she went all over, to the courthouses and done. We found people when we were out looking at Randolph Moore's, Arnold's brother that went to Iowa. We run into people that were doing ancestral research and at pulling out books and stuff in the records. And
Oh, I wanted to ask you something about Chris Straley. Now, he was born in
Christian,
Christian Straley. He was born in Germany. I think you mentioned he came over here because of the Napoleonic Wars or something like that.
You told me that somebody had migrated to keep from having to fight for Napoleon when they were leaving, when they wanted to leave Germany and Napoleon wanted to go into Russia. They were.
But I was thinking, I don't know if that might have had to been later, because the French Revolution happened about the same time as the American Revolution. And before the French Revolution, it was all a monarchy, so there was no Napoleon. So it didn't seem.
Napoleon was in when Jefferson was in. That's when he bought Louisiana Purchase from France.
So
When Napoleon
1803 or
was in there.
something.
Because they was fighting all them wars, they needed the money.
Oh, well, that's what I got it. The information.
Well,
from
I don't
you.
think it was Christian.
It would have had to have been somebody that came over in the early
I'm trying to think.
1800s.
after the Revolutionary
Yeah.
War. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was about the same time that they had the French War, and they cut off Marie Antoinette's head and stuff. So I mean,
And
sounded
Napoleon
like
was after that.
yeah, Napoleon was after the monarchy because he kind of took over as the king, I think, from what little bit I know. Christian Straley. Christian, and what was his wife's name? Chris?
Yeah, it was
Christine.
Christine. Yeah.
Christine. Christian and
Christian and Christian. Now I remember, but I can't remember who it was. I don't think it was Christian. Who?
Do you have your research book?
Yeah.
Because Bob was talking about wanting a
Oh, yeah.
copy.
Yeah, what I'm going to have to do is get a scanner. Get it here. Scan. That's kind of cool.
Who was it that came over that did want to fight for Napoleon? It wasn't Christian.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it's too early.
No, that was. I know who it did, but it wasn't Christian. Who the shit was that?
It'll drive you crazy.
I can't think. The best purchase I ever made was that stupid. Oh, it's stupid, but that brother just black laser printer.
Oh, you like that, huh?
Yeah, I've had colored, buying that ink is absolutely ridiculous,
Oh, it'll, yeah.
And I swear, it'll dry up in the stupid, I never print enough and time I go back and then the first thing you say, you're out of ink,
Yeah.
And I swear I think it evaporated up right in the printer, once you put it in there.
Well, the ones that ship with the printer don't have very much ink in them.
Well, but anyhow, I've bought replacements and it's the same thing.
I'm lucky. I just go to Baylor and charge them. I print everything there.
Well, the way I look at it,
That laser printer.
that
Oh,
black,
yeah, laser.
that
Color
Blackman,
laser, yeah.
$46. I printed that whole book. Well, I printed 2 of them.
With the
I got a duplicate of that, and almost all of it on one cartridge. All you have to do is take it out, don't shake it, put it back in, and then
Oh,
print some
I
more.
remember doing that, yeah.
But, and I'm like, if I want color, I'll take it to Staples, or, if I want pictures, take it to Walmart or Sam's or someplace and
Yeah.
get them run off. And that ink that they get. I run off years ago when we was out at Vegas, and we went all night, and I took a panoramic and I printed it. You could print panoramic, different sheets and then put them together. You can hardly see that stupid.
Oh, it's
You know,
faded out.
It's so faded.
When Connie's doing, she does scrapbook stuff, and they're all into that. Don't buy such and such an ink, it'll fade. Your scrapbook won't last this long.
Mm.
So for a while, she wanted to get this really expensive ink that lasted forever. I told her, scan it, and it's forever. Digital copy lasts forever. So
No.
yeah, they do. If you back them up.
I would have been looking into that with all my pictures and stuff. They make an archival CD
Oh, CDs are terrible.
that will, it has a thin gold plating on it some way that's supposed to copy and stay. Then you have your thumb drives, and they even, what I'm reading of them, they even deteriorate over time. If you put them on. And
Well, it depends how crazy you want to get. Like, I bought a 2 terahertz Toshiba external memory with a USB drive. I got 2 of them down here, so I brought 4 terahertz with me.
Terabytes.
yeah,
Terabytes,
the external hard drive.
Yeah.
Well, then there you only have the opportunity the thing's gonna crash on you and it don't work.
But what I do is I take my computer and I put it on there. So yeah, there's a chance that both of them could do. Plus they have this thing called, these Mosey things, Mosey.com and Carbonite.com, where you can load it up to the cloud. And
You can also get.
I don't like using those.
But what I have found out, if you want to archive and make sure that you have it, is make a hard copy of it, just like your old pictures. Like your old photographs.
But even then,
They
they
keep them
fade. They
Well, look, I mean, if you put them in acid-free paper, look at your old photographs. Gee whiz, there's photographs
they last forever.
ever, Put them in a shoebox, you can see.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've been looking at about putting my pictures on. How is the best way that you could, and you never know. A thumb drive, you might not be able, 60 years from now, you might not even buy a piece of equipment that'll, like a floppy disk or a zip drive. You might not even have a stupid piece of hardware that you can see it on.
But like I back my stuff up like on a 50 megabyte hard drive 10 years ago, and now I put all of those onto a 1 gigabyte drive, and then you put on one onto a.
Yes, you kind of modernize as you go.
Yeah, just modernize as you go, and you always got the cloud. It's
Well, they do have the dual RAID systems where it's a it's a way of configuring hard drives. And
Oh, where you
they'll
do-
back up to each other. They're
Yeah.
hot swappable, you know, if one crashes, you can just pull it out and put a fresh one in, you know.
I had the option of doing that on my computer and chose not to, because I wanted the extra space, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this thing will work without
what's that now?
this phone. What I want to show you.
Well, the hotspot's on, if that's what you mean.
Well, maybe I can turn the Wi-Fi on. Maybe I can help here. I want, what do I want? Emails. And I want, try on. No, that might not want to work.
Yeah. Just water?
Just water, well, with maybe an ice
Okay,
cube.
I'm connected, so get on there. You said I'm connected. No mail here. Okay, well, let's see. Where else can I? You gotta be there unless Google took
Thank
you
you,
off.
thank you.
Unless Google took you, cause I saved you, you little devil. No. See this? Story ready, trip to Florida and Georgia. Story ready to view, trip to Florida. Okay, I'm gonna have, I got this in the email coming up the road. And he says here, view story. Now keep in mind, I had nothing to do with this,
Okay.
except for take the pictures.
Okay.
You did take these pictures.
I took the pictures. And that's it. And then all of a sudden I get this email.
You signed up for something you didn't know about. Didn't you?
Okay, trip to Florida. And this is an old hotel down in Amerigus, Georgia.
Is this on the web, like open to?
No, this is in the cloud.
Well, I just
And it
would
says
imagine.
for your eyes only.
Oh,
So unless you choose to share it. No. Now isn't that something? Huh?
These engineers are incredible, yeah.
Look at that. Now these are pictures I took in Amerigus, that old hotel inside of it.
And they're all probably geo-stamped, so
Probably,
they'll
evidently.
put it right on the map
You know,
wherever you took
Did you
them.
see that map, that little area?
Yeah.
Where was it? I'm really slow. See, that didn't come up. But anyway, there was another little error. And this is down at the villages in Florida. This is March the 7th, Wednesday, day 2. They know more about me than
Crazy, isn't it?
Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
That's amazing, isn't it?
There's Mac.
Yeah.
We talking about.
For day
It
4.
was at day 4, March 13th.
Showed you where you went. And
Port Sereno, that's where we went fishing up from Max's. There's my bass I caught. There's Eula.
Oh, she got something, huh?
You went to Ecuador,
Columbia, South Carolina. There's Eula's sister, Frida. And that was his story. Now, I had absolutely nothing to do with this. This is fascinating. Now, if poor old Google can do this, what do you think Obama?
Oh, it's
That's
scary,
hitting,
man,
huh?
yeah, it's scary.
They know.
Now, you had your GPS on or something.
I'm on Google Plus.
Okay,
Well, yeah, I Googled the location.
yeah,
It's on.
so they knew what was happening.
But the pictures, I don't know. I think that's separate
scary.
from here.
That's scary. I don't know how Google does this. I don't know where they put all of this stuff.
This
Well,
fascinates
didn't
me.
they just build those things off site in Washington, out on the water, those great big server.
You know, I have a student, I have a
things.
graduate student that went to work for Google, and his name was Winston. I says, Winston, what are those things out in the water? Do you know what they are? He says, yes, but I'd have to kill you.
Oh, really? So
yeah,
that's not
it
common
was.
knowledge.
It was. I think the best guess is that it's kind of VIP rooms or something,
Oh, okay.
which is really weird.
I thought it was just like server farms they were building out there.
But
for
I
some
don't know
reason.
where they're going to get this. Who was it? Jerry Seinfeld came out and he said YouTube is a trash heap because people keep throwing stuff on there, and like every minute they download like 48 hours worth of YouTube videos, and they're storing them somewhere. I just saw today where they think they're going to run out of storage someday in 20 years. They said.
That's right. That's how Google works. They have their own copy of everything on the web to facilitate the searches. So they have to take everything that's posted
and they
take it into
store
their
it.
control and store it.
And you think of
somewhere.
how much they do, because like on the YouTube accounts, they don't care how much you store. You can download 1,000 videos. They don't care. After the 1,000th video, they said, you got any more? They just want to keep on going. But who was it? I think it was Great Britain. They said if we continue this way in 20 years, all of the power generated in Britain will be going to powering the web. It's,
To keeping the I know what you mean.
yeah. Ironically,
Whatever.
all of these politically correct companies like Google are just sucking up all sorts of energy.
Now, what did that government ruling here recently have an effect of? Basically, they had to sell data to everybody at the same price, or they couldn't.
The fair use, the fair web or something.
Something.
Yeah, that's no good. More web should fight it out with free enterprise. That's what I think.
But you said Google, they're coming out with their wireless system, but I was reading they're going to be working off of T-Mobile, Sprint.
They have to. In fact, one of the reasons I was telling Chris I came to Washington is that there's only a certain amount of bandwidth. Like, you have your AM stations, your FM stations, and your old TV stations, and all of this other stuff. And the government just auctioned off. Well, one of the things they did is in 2010, Obama had this thing where he took 500 megabytes of megahertz of military bandwidth that they used for radar and gave it to the phone companies. Yeah. And they just had an auction, and they auctioned off 300 megahertz of bandwidth in so-called L band, and they thought it was going to sell for about $10.5 billion, and it went for almost $45 billion.
Oh my
is what it went for. And the people that are buying it are people like Verizon and these other things, but they're using up bandwidth so quick, and it's a natural resource. Once it's filled up, there's no place to put it unless you kick somebody off and you reclaim it. But Obama's been taking a lot of the bandwidth from military sites. And so the reason I went to D.C. was to talk to DARPA, and they say, what are we going to do with this bandwidth? In terms of how we're going to operate with our radar.
That they don't have anymore.
Well, they still have, but they don't have the bandwidth they used to. And it's just like downloading stuff. The more bandwidth you have, the better it is, right? And so they're losing it because Obama didn't give a darn about the bandwidth. Yeah, I talked to a lot of the guys. They're not allowed to in work bitch about the government, but you get them out to dinner and they have a beer or two. Boy, they rip into him on that. They hate his damn guts. I mean, he's just kind of a crazy guy. But anyway, that's scary. Using up our bandwidth and not leaving the military any to protect us with. I think it's scary. But what do you do, right?
Is there technology that somehow I understand that like you can cram more information in into maybe you're working at the same bandwidth, but it's packeted or something where it's like you just jam more channels into one space or something.
It's called multiplexing. And multiplexing means you cram more stuff onto a signal as you can. Like you can time division multiplex. Like if you want to send signals, you send one sample of the first signal here and another one here and another one here and another one here. Okay. And then they have code multiplexing where you can send the same. You can send 2 different or 3 different things over the same channel at the same bandwidth. But you use all that up after a while. You know? So, there's
Well,
just
that
no way to
Verizon and AT&T, they've got to be making a fortune. Man.
Well, just if everybody's paying the bills I'm paying.
Yeah.
Verizon,
Gee.
it's just incredible. Yeah, but the thing is that, you know, even in your cars now, they don't put wires in anymore. It's all wireless,
Yeah, a lot of it is. Yeah.
which is spooky.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But they save on wire, and it's a cheap way to do it.
It tickles me when they get in there and they get them hackers and they hack it in.
Oh, yeah.
Into a car's computer, and then they break it and accelerate it.
And they're good. Yeah, I got one guy that's, I have a student, he went to work for Google. And he makes more money than my entire faculty, than everybody in our faculty put together. And oh my gosh, does he have it cushy. He has during the day, he has a masseuse on call. If he wants a massage, you know, he can have it. 24-hour chef. If he wants a ride home, they have chauffeurs there ready to take him home. And plus, they have little rooms if he wants to stay the night. They
What
treat
was
him
that
really,
one
really
that
good.
Google, when one of them was sleeping out in his camper in the parking lot?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
There was a bet or something, and he stayed out there, I don't know, 8 times, lived out there in that camper 8 times. But you just go in, I think he just slept out there, you know, but
Yeah.
because he could go, you get all the amenities there in the building.
Exactly.
Probably sound, it sounds great, but probably what the management was saying is, you don't have any reason to go home.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. That started with Microsoft. Microsoft started giving all their employees free sodas. That was a big deal back then. But now it's free food, you know. And what my student's doing, he's a really weird, interesting guy, but a wonderful guy. He is doing what they call now big data. Google has all of this stuff. What do you do with all of this stuff? You know, it's like a big room full of just junk, little odds and ends, little emails, little videos. How do you mine that? How do you figure it? And they call it data mining. So how do you go in there and how do you dig in that mine full of garbage and come out with useful stuff? And that's what he does.
And it's code generated. He's writing software.
He's writing
does
software to go in and look at this. It's exactly like mining. You know, it's a big mountain full of information that nobody knows what the heck it is. And unfortunately, he's doing it to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing. So
I finally learned enough watching TV to understand what the NSA is doing with all their data and how they justify. You may already know this, but basically what they're collecting everything.
yeah. And they're probably doing this
They're not
big data too.
They're not considering it. What's the word they use?
Snooping or?
Well, even though they're collecting it all and they have it all, they're not saying they're violating your rights until they look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Which
And
is kinda
probably
crazy,
they
but-
probably have it there. In order to look at it, they probably have to get a warrant. I bet, you know.
Maybe theoretically, yeah.
Yeah.
They're supposed to have a warrant if they want to look at it, even though they have the book full of all the pictures.
Well, there was one. the phone companies to store that information, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, I think
Instead
that's
of the
one of the
government?
things that Snowden,
Oh,
one of
they're
the things he
storing it all?
revealed was how the government had forced the companies to
Turn over information.
turn over.
I tell you what's spooky is if you leave your stuff on at night, they can turn your camera on and watch you.
Yeah,
Holy Toledo.
Now
that's-
Samsung in that smart TV that they putting out says that they admitted that they can do that.
That's,
You know, they,
something's wrong with that. They
well,
shouldn't do
I
that.
think that's why they took the battery access out of the phones that I have.
What do you mean?
Well, as long as you got a battery with charge, they can operate your phone. But if I was like going to a meeting with people I didn't want the NSA to know about, I could take the battery out of my phone, kill the power to the phone, and
Oh,
they
and
wouldn't
then-
have access to it.
okay.
But if I don't have access to the battery, they have more control over the
Oh,
phone.
and
Now,
Apple doesn't let you get access to the battery.
Yeah, and the
No.
phone I have, Nokia, you can't get to the battery either.
my Samsung Note 10,
You can?
you can take the battery out of that and put a new battery in it. Now you can't.
I just wonder if that was part of the motivation, because it doesn't seem to make any sense, you know? Wouldn't you want to be able to put a new battery in? But I guess the consumer thing that they have to make up for it is they give you you could buy a little external battery that
Yeah.
plugs in that gives you more juice, you know?
Yeah, I don't know why they do that. Ray had an Apple and his phone went dead and we had to go online and buy him a special kit, little screwdrivers and pliers and things.
Yeah, he was talking about how complicated the process was to get into.
Change, or you can change the battery in the.
Yeah, he
Apple phone?
bought a little kit to do it. And he bought a little battery. Fortunately, it's still a free country, they can't, so far.
Break the seal on the phone and you go to prison, right? Is that
Yeah,
coming back?
exactly. That's the way it was. So.
You mean that wasn't an Apple
No, it was,
aftermarket thing?
it was some third party vendor who recognized the need, and God bless him, went into a place where they could do stuff like that.
Well, remember you used to, they sold those ink cartridge refills?
Oh,
I'm
and
sure
you could,
refill the ink cartridges,
Yeah.
and then they went to,
Oh, you
once them cartridges dispense so much ink, they've got something in there and they ain't no good no more.
planned obsolescence, yeah.
I mean, I think they can send them back to you can recycle them, but they must have a code or something that you can
Yeah.
make them print, but that's,
Yeah, all this stuff is, do you think they can spy? I guess they could spy. As long as the internet and cell phones get to a place, they can spy on you, can't they?
Yeah, they say they can turn on your cell phone at will.
Yeah.
Anybody's cell phone to turn the speaker on, or I'm sorry, the mic, or if they want to turn it on to hear what you're saying, if the cell phone is here, they can do it.
there was an interesting article on almost 60 Minutes or what it was, but the guy was talking about the Chinese shooting at satellite out of the air, and it put so much debris into the
Oh, but they
solar
have to
system
track.
that they said if they don't quit doing it, then they won't have any need to go into space because
Won't be able
they
to.
won't be able to because it's so
Really, the Chinese are.
yeah, they shot it out.
Just to prove out the weapon technology.
Yeah, and anyway, this guy was talking about the height of satellites, and I guess the military satellites that the United States have, and they collect their data from, way to shit up there. Now I don't know, 59 miles or I mean,
I don't know.
yeah, it was some tremendous, and they don't have nothing, no rockets or nothing can, reach that high. And but anyway, he said if they ever, well, the guy asked him. He said, well, if they shoot out our satellites, would that be a act of war? And he was saying, well, as of now, it's not.
It's
wouldn't
not.
be, it
Well-
wouldn't be considered.
I thought they just
Oh.
considered the hacking attacks of back in.
Obama wouldn't have considered
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's true.
But they call them, they have them that they'll go put them into orbit and they'll maneuver up to a satellite next to them. And then they'll deploy something they said that'll tear off a solar panel or something, this function. But I've also heard that they'll pull up and then that satellite will blow up, and as it blows up, it sends debris and tears up the.
But have you seen about how the Air Force tracks all that crap up there? They track all
Yeah,
those chunks
yeah,
of
he
shit
was
from
talking about that,
forever
yeah.
ago. And I remember looking at the screen, they showed it was like a circular Earth, and there was these dots just all around. It was a dot for every little piece of space.
I
junk
forget how many
around.
times they said the space station had to maneuver last year to keep from getting hit by a space.
Oh,
jet.
really?
We just graduated a PhD from China. Man, they come over here all the time. And I went up to him after the exam. He's a good guy, good Christian fellow. And I said, Yangxing. He says, yes. He said, I don't want you going back to China and build stuff to kill us, okay?
What did he say?
He says, oh, Dr. Boxstar.
I said, what?
He said, no, I would not do that. So, yeah, I was very straightforward with him. I don't want him to do that. So, that's hilarious. But we do. See, when I first started out, we had like students like from China and India that came over, and they wanted to stay here in the worst way. Now the students come over and shoot, they can get probably as decent jobs back in China, yeah. So they go back home.
Oh,
This guy, it turns out, wants to come to America because he likes the religious freedom here, but generally it's not a pretty sight.
Well, I'm under the impression that America is starting to look more and more like a third world country, especially the places like China and the cities over there that are booming.
Oh my gosh! One of the things Obama's done, he's cut R&D for military, and yeah, I'm an engineer, so I always say it's always the technology that keeps America great, but it really is. I mean, when the A-bomb did it, and our superiority in the arms race and the thermonuclear stuff. But I went and saw a picture, and it was in one of these things that they call it unclassified but sensitive. So you're not supposed to tell people who aren't American citizens about it. Okay, that's what they do. And they keep out all the foreign nationals. But the Chinese have something now where their rocket just flies like 10 feet over the water, so radar can't pick it up. And then as soon as it breaks over the horizon, it breaks into Mach 6 or something like that. And there's no way we can touch it. We get their technology is just surpassing us.
It's a form of an ICBM. It's a nuclear missile.
They can arm it any way they want to.
Okay, so
They can arm it any way they want
they
to.
can take out a ship or a city, however they want.
Yeah. But again, the idea that you can't see it, you can't detect it, it's too small to see from satellite, and then once it gets over the horizon and you can see it, it breaks into this,
Speed you can't intercept.
Yeah, you just don't have the time to react to it anymore. And this is spooky stuff Obama's letting them get into without any response.
Well, but they
he doesn't
can't-
give a damn.
I don't know how in the heck, they come over here and they get educated, or they come in here and work for the companies, and then they go back over there and then they have all the technology or stuff, or hack into it and get it that way.
I saw a
Absolutely.
video recently. China flew their new stealth fighter. It looks almost exactly
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
F-35. It's like the same thing because they just got the plans and build
Build
it.
it, yeah. It's the same way with that Russian space, the space ship, the one that glides up and glides back, space shuttle.
Russians don't have a space shuttle. They started to develop one, but they never put it into service.
Well, they never did, but they built one that looked exactly like the
Yeah. Yeah.
ones that the United States used.
Yeah. They also built a SST, but they never put it in service.
We live right in McGregor. They have the rocket factory for SpaceX. So we'd be sitting at our house, and you swear it's like thunder and explosion, and they're over there testing their
Testing
rockets,
engines.
yeah, just across the lane. The thing that's chilling, Thomas Sowell, he was asked, great, you ever heard of the guy? He's a black conservative columnist, brilliant man. And they asked him what his biggest fear was, and he says, my biggest fear is with ISIS right over the border. I told you about this, I think, that they will sneak thermonuclear devices into places like Houston, Miami, and maybe a couple other big cities, detonate them, swear that they have more, and the U.S. surrenders to them. And that's something that could happen. With our lax border security, with ISIS just over the border
They
in
would just have to
Mexico.
say, you do what we do or you're gonna lose New York, you're gonna lose LA.
That's right. They would blackmail us, and Obama would surrender to them. I think he would. You know, and that's so. Get your ammunition together.
Yeah.
I mean, you never think of the United States of ever losing a war, ever surrendering.
I don't know,
This
they-
is the first scenario that I've ever heard where it actually sounds like, yeah, maybe
Oh, I
maybe
see.
it would
like
happen.
in the
Been
big-
watching too many 24 shows.
Man,
Well, the
maybe,
whole,
I
the
guess.
whole craziness about the Russians is the whole mutually assured destruction thing, right? It's like if you start something, you can't start a war, either one of us. I can't start a war with you, you can't start a war with me without everybody dying. And that kept them from starting a war.
But we're fighting somebody now that doesn't give a damn about living.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, and then who would you attack? If
Yeah.
they did what you said, you
It's
know?
true. And they don't care about it. Mutually assured destruction only works if people are afraid to die.
Oh, right, yeah.
And a lot of these guys aren't. So.
Well, I guess you could force that if you wanted to continue. You could say, okay, you crazy ISIS bastards, we're going to take out the Middle East, and make all those people in the Middle East responsible for ISIS, and put the pressure on them. If ISIS does something over here, kiss your ass goodbye,
But you see, our politically correct people wouldn't. We need Ronald Reagan right now.
Yeah.
We need
No,
somebody like
look what happened. You've got Saudi Arabia actually now doing something to protect themselves, and Jordan.
Yeah, they had to
Yeah.
step in.
Before, they sat back and let us send our guys over there to get killed.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's one thing I can see about Obama. Hey, it's your friggin' fight. You put the boots on the ground.
I like
Let
that,
them say,
yes.
just go ahead and kill each other. I don't care. As long as you keep it confined in his space, that's
Boy, I'm for that.
and I gotta give him credit for that.
That is true. In fact, I used to be much more hawkish, but war just screws up young men, and
Well, especially, them Saudi sheiks over there, as long as they're protected, they don't give a shit, as long as they're making their money.
Yeah.
Look what they're doing to the oil industry. That's their theory, isn't it? Keep pumping so much oil, it just puts all these oil companies out of business over here in the United States.
Well, we
Just
have to
flood
keep,
the market.
we have to keep them making own money because their political system is so volatile. If the sheiks aren't making money, then the people are going to rise up, and the people that rise up are lunatics like ISIS, and that's where all that ideology came from, was Saudi Arabia.
Well, I don't know, is Saudi Shiite or are they Sunni?
I don't know.
They're Shiite.
They're the ones
No,
that don't like
Iran Shiite,
Yeah, I think
they're
so.
Sunni.
Yeah, and they were talking about that, about how we're,
I mean,
basically we're fighting Iran down in Yemen, or
Yeah.
indirectly through Saudi Arabia, but we're helping Iran fight ISIS, and the
Iraq.
Iran's on the ground
Yeah.
in Iraq,
And then,
we're doing air
then
strikes.
we're in nuclear talks with Iran, sanction talks, And they've got a friggin' Virgin Island boat over there.
Virgin Island boat, oh, you mean like a luxury thing?
No,
What do
a
you mean?
big shipping boat that they commandeered, and it's licensed, the flag is out of Virgin Islands, I think.
Oh, the Iranians did that?
Yeah. So now the United States has got ships over there escorting, they've got 4 destroyers over there escorting ships through the Suez, no, not Suez. What is that?
Gulf of Aden.
We went through that,
Suez?
no, it's not Suez. What's that near strip that goes up through from one sea to, that where Iran patrols there, and that's where they got that ship. But anyway, they're escorting him through there.
Escorting the Iranians.
Hmm?
We are escorting the Iranians?
No. We're escorting, I don't know what nationality ships they are, but
Oh. Well, I'd heard too that they were, Iran had sent ships.
Strait of
to Yemen.
Hormuz, is that what that is?
I don't know.
No.
And that
Strait of-
Obama did send an aircraft carrier, but they kept it all hush hush. But there was aircraft carrier in the Navy there shadowing the Iranian ships that were heading to Yemen.
Oh, yeah, but they turned around and went back.
Oh, did they?
The Iranian ships, yeah. I don't know, you'd think them, Fox and them have all those retired generals all in there, those talking heads. I mean,
Well,
they don't have any more idea. You'd think them being in the military, they'd have their friggin' solutions as weird as some civilian.
Yeah.
And Rubio, he said the governors couldn't make good presidents because they don't have any foreign relations experience. Said senators are better suited to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for Rand Paul.
I like him.
I do too.
I
He
like him a
sticks to
lot.
what he says. And some people call him isolationist, and I don't think. You just keep your nose out of.
Where it don't belong.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's what I don't know. If we knew the Holocaust was happening in like in World War II, and we weren't in the war, but if we weren't in the war, should we get involved? Because they're killing 6 million Jews? Because we're kind of in a situation like that now with them ISIS killing all those, they killed 600 Christians the other day.
yeah, I don't know how. I just, it seems crazy to me that we allow things to happen like that. when
But
we don't have to.
see, Rand Paul would say, and I halfway agree with him. He would say, "Stay out of it. It's not our daggone business." On the other hand, there's something that says you want to get in there and you want to do something.
Yeah, it's just,
So
isn't it like you're
Well, but
complicit
if you wanted-
can do something?
If you wanted to
don't?
save Christians, though, you could send things in there, like they was on that mountain. You remember they was up on that hill,
okay,
and they sent those troops in there, and because the mice had them all surrounded, and they couldn't get off the mountain. They starving to death.
Okay.
Dropped them food and everything. Yeah. Yeah, you can evacuate those people. And
Well, I know we wouldn't even give the Kurds weapons because we were afraid of making other people angry. The Kurds are trying to fight ISIS, and I can't remember exactly how it went, but they were complaining they had all this old junk and no weapons because we wouldn't give them to them because, Turkey or somebody was afraid they were going to.
Well, them
Use them
people
to-
over there, you don't know who's going to turn against who, and who's going to start using the weapons you give them against.
we gave Osama weapons
Yeah.
in the Iraqi-Iran war. I had an Iranian student. He said, when we fought Iraqis, we had a bunch of Iraqi jokes. And some of them you've heard before, you know, you only have to train Iraqi pilots. It only takes half as long to train them as.
Just have to take off.
You just have to train them to take off. But the other one I thought was
Or
funny.
how to run,
Yeah. The other funny one was they said in Tehran they were doing some excavation. They found wires showing that, you know, in the 5th century BC that they had actually telephones, very crude telephones. And Saddam Hussein, this was an Iraqi joke, he says he wasn't going to be outdone, so he did a lot of excavation around Baghdad. And he didn't uncover things, but he came out and he says, we were much better. We had wireless. So that was another good Iraqi joke.
I just think I'm 71 years old. I don't have that much longer to worry about.
I had a guy tell me, a guy I work with, he says, you know you're old when you don't worry about how old you are, but you think about how much longer you're going to live. And there's a certain place where you go along in life. I mean, I've reached it.
And you get to that point and you're...
Yeah, you no longer say, well, you know, there's a certain point where you're not immortal anymore. And you think, well, like buying this place, you know, 30 or more, 30, let's see, I'll be 97. you just don't go there, so.
Do you have a life insurance policy?
Exactly. So, we don't know. So how much longer, you beat the Jim Marks, Jack Marks
79,
card.
yeah, the 69.
69.
Yeah.
That's good.
Boy, you know, you really, you know, 69, it was basically when Dad died. You know. But man, when you really think about it, they could have had quite a few more productive years if they stayed healthy, you know.
Yeah. But when did you quit smoking? I mean, that was a big thing with Dad. With Dad, it was smoking, and plus he said when he used to change brakes, you know, with the old drum
Well,
brakes.
yeah, they said.
It would
I
be
don't. Did they
asbestos.
ever diagnose him with melanoma?
I don't know.
Melanoma. Is that what they call it?
Oh, asbestosis
Yeah,
sort of thing?
yeah, asbestos.
I don't know I don't know how you diagnose this. I don't know if once you get
Well,
lung
they
cancer.
do.
they?
Yeah.
Because he used to get it in the drums there, and he used to take the air hose and go, psh, and, you know, come up in a big cloud.
Oh, yeah.
And he would inhale it.
But
Do you
they
remember
had
doing that?
asbestos. Oh yeah, they had, you know, they had asbestos in them to keep the heat. Martha Heinrich, well, she's dead now, but you ever see them gas stoves she has in there? In
Was
the
that-
fireplaces?
Yeah.
She had gas. They had fireplaces in the house, back to back. Well, when they got natural gas, they put a tube in there that has a burner. But the flames come up, and then on the back, in the back, it has a strip of asbestos about that wide,
Yeah.
and it's fiberish. And when the gas would go up, that would glow like a radiant heater. But yeah, well, they're still up for today, you know.
Okay.
And they're
That place is like walking back in time.
Which place was?
The Heine house
Martha.
up on that, because they don't have running water. They never had
Now, where
running
is
water
this?
in
I'm
the
not sure where
sink.
this is.
Up behind where Mom grew up by the Heine Cemetery up
Okay,
there.
yeah.
It's in the, you know, like the old radio from the 40s is sitting there, like probably where it was in 1940, you know, and it's weird.
Does it still work?
I don't know.
I bet it doesn't with the tube. Yeah. But it's kind of like that church up there, you know, I go in there and,
Yeah, it's,
my gosh.
what church is it?
The Blackburn Church.
Oh,
it's like going back in time too.
it's been there ever since I was a kid. It's the same way. Well, no, we got a gas stove. They used to have potbelly stoves.
Did I ask you this? Can I remember there being potbelly stoves in there? I swear I can remember going in there and there was fire that had been built.
Yeah, but I don't think they were potbelly. I think they were more of a, remember like the one we had in the family room. They were
Oh, it's more
porcelain.
like
They were more of a porcelain.
Okay.
I think they changed them pot bellies and put those in.
Do you remember coal at the farmhouse?
No.
Who, cola?
The coal.
Oh,
We used to have to
coal.
go down and get coal to,
The coal pile?
yeah,
Never had a coal house.
no,
Throw a little tarp over it, and then it would get so froze, you'd have to bust a hole in it, and then if it'd stay cold so long, then you'd shovel back underneath the tunnel, cause it wouldn't be cold, you know, it wouldn't be all froze on the, so it had a big crust on it, and then
it was just there in a big stack, I guess, when you had to
truck just
deliver.
took it in, brought it in, dumped it in a pile.
Yeah. It's like, so you can't burn cold coal, I guess that makes sense.
You can't burn coal.
Cold coal.
Cold coal?
Cold coal.
No,
You
you
said,
couldn't
Yeah, you
shovel
can.
it.
Oh,
You
you
just
couldn't-
can't shovel it
oh,
together
you
in a
can't
bucket,
shovel
cause that
it.
big old chunk, you know, all them pieces all froze together, you know?
oh, okay,
And you sledgehammer and bust it apart.
okay.
So you have to get back in there and
What did you use to get it in the house?
Coal bucket,
5-gallon buckets.
yeah.
Like we used at home, just 5-gallon buckets like that?
But they were special, didn't they come around kind of have a lip?
Well, a coal bucket, we never used coal bucket, we never had a coal bucket.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Okay.
Nope, had old metal 5-gallon buckets.
Mm.
And Ormita would always get up early in the morning and start the fire, and then go in the back
Dad,
room.
Dad would have fire.
Oh, he's the one that
Yeah,
started it?
Dad, yeah, Dad was always up first.
Because I remember Ormita going in the back room. I was the other day. Remember that the kitchen? Yeah, there was this old refrigerator there that the latch was broken, so there was a rope around it, and then there was a stupid lever. Do you remember that?
So what?
There was it was a piece of wood that came out like this. You know, it was almost a wedge. And you would open the door, and then you would have to put the rope around and stick that wedge in there so that the door stayed closed. Do you
I
remember
see
that?
what- Yeah, I probably, yeah.
To
I
take
think
up the
so.
slack in the
Yeah,
rope.
so it'd
Yeah.
be tight enough to make the door shut.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they weren't really super modern.
Make it work.
Yeah. Now, I do remember making Kool-Aid popsicles. That was a big thing. You used to make Kool-Aid and put them in those little trays.
Yeah,
And that was really
that's what we
special.
did at home for a lot. At home when the kids was growing up.
Yeah. And that was always special. But Ormita was always cold back there, and I think it was Max, wasn't it Max, that went out and got her a stove finally so that she could be warm? There wasn't a stove, if I remember right. There was
Oh,
only
the
a
freezer.
stove in the front room. But as you went back into the dining room and the kitchen, there was no heat.
Yeah, because once we got rid of the old wood burning cook stove,
Yeah.
they got a propane to run off, gas stove
Okay.
run over propane.
Is that what that
Well,
was?
it didn't put out that much heat. So they got one of them little 2-burner stoves. I think it's that one, it might be that one's down the barn yet.
The gas one?
No, the stove, cast iron stove.
For wood burning?
Yeah, and they put
I
a, you
remember
remember
that.
where the freezer was? And that, Dad built that little extension out on the end of the kitchen, the freezer set. Well,
Uh-huh.
that old wood stove before we got the freezer, set right there. And then we built a fire in there, and that kept the kitchen, that kept the kitchen.
I remember those little handles, and you had to go down and stick it in the iron
In the lid, the
hole,
hole in
and,
the lid,
and
pick it up.
pick it up. Yeah.
Yeah, I got, there was one down there that I clung out, dug out of that old, it's missing a couple pieces. I can't figure, there's an extra piece there, but it don't fit. You know, in that stove, so I don't know. I was digging in an old pile up there.
Yeah.
I found that old turn plow that I know Max used it a lot. And they called it a side hill plow. And it had a latch on it. And you kick the latch, and then when the horse turned around to go back,
Oh, it'd flip over?
yeah, you pick up on the handle and flip it over, and then the plow went over to the other side. And you latched it in, and it would keep throwing the dirt the same direction. You know. And,
Yeah, if you didn't have that, you'd have to keep on going around the hill.
you Yeah.
I thought that was funny. I thought that was hilarious, because you wouldn't be able to stop and turn around, right? You would just go around the hill
If
again.
you wanted to keep the furrows laying the same way, or
Yeah, that was the main thing.
Okay, well, my joke didn't go over very well.
Well,
Okay, I thought it was
we're
very
not-
funny.
you have to keep going around the hill.
Yeah, because what you would do is you would be on the side of the hill and you'd go over here, and then you'd turn around, you'd flip the plow, right? And then you could go back the other way, and then you got over here and you flip the plow, right? But if it didn't flip, you would just have to go around the hill again a bunch of times. That was my joke. Okay, let's move on.
You know, like the
Don't you
guy.
think that's funny?
You know, like the guy said that he planted 2 acres of corn. It was all in one row. You know how you can do that? You
2
do it the
acres?
same way you did. You start, around the hill.
Oh,
You
you're
start-
right, you're right,
You
yeah,
start
you're
plowing
right.
around like that. You just keep this all one row, right?
Yeah.
So when you start plowing it, you never have to. You never have to get out of that.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, was it Max or Betty during the farm wars? One of them, Max said, we should divide this whole place into little strips about this big, and make spaghetti farms. just in a row. And you see, you could do it in one row too if you had 1 foot shorter, 1 leg shorter than the other one. Is that funny? No, you don't think so?
Yeah.
That was an old West Virginia.
Is that an old West Virginia joke about 1 foot shorter?
High. You don't want to make sure.
But when you didn't, no, that wouldn't work.
What?
If you had 1 foot shorter than the other, and you're going this way, and you had to go around, and you came down here, wouldn't you be like?
No, you'd always do.
Yeah, your long leg would always be on the low side.
Yeah. Here, look this
Long
way.
leg would always be on the low side. So if I'm going this way, then I take the plow down the hill, and now I go back this way.
No, you're not going down the hill.
Okay, watch.
You got a
watch.
hill that's in a knoll like this, right? You're going around it.
Here's
Oh,
the
you're
hill.
doing a hill like this.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's cone shaped.
Oh, all this time I'm thinking of something on the side of the hill. That's why it's not.
No.
No, you have to go all the way around the hill. See how I'm doing?
I see. Okay. All right.
So
Okay,
if you're
now
like
it's funny,
this,
right?
Yeah.
if you turn that glass upside down, you'd go around it and around it and around it and around it. And
I
around it.
see.
Just like an apple peeler.
Yeah. I know what those are.
So it'd have to be a facial hill.
Yeah. With the gradient the same all the way around. and
yeah.
You wouldn't have to worry about how it was plowed on the very top.
Well, until you got there.
Well, that would be the erosion control.
Oh.
EPA.
Yeah, the EPA. Jeez.
Oh, Lord. But what else did I find? Oh, that old.
Oxygen and acetylene tanks.
No, the one I've already got fixed up.
Well, you fixed
Forge,
Up,
that little portable forge.
oh. Well, you fixed up that plow too, didn't you?
The plow, yeah.
What? Forge?
You had a.
Well, I found a little forge
Blacksmithing?
and I tore it out and dug it out of the dirt up there. And it was a forge that had a blower in it. It had, you cranked it, and it blew air down and up, had a pot that, where you heated stuff. And it came through and the air come up. And you kept your fire in here and you cranked it. You put your steel in there and your coal or coke, and it blew that air in there and made it real red hot. And then you took it over to your anvil. But it was a portable one.
The
Like,
blacksmith.
yeah, it was a portable one, like for, I think like horseshoe people would use them.
Yeah.
You know, when they had to make the horseshoes
To fit.
to fit the horses and stuff. And they could take it apart and throw it in a wagon and go with it, you know.
And the horses would be whoo whoo when you put their shoes back on. It said, let it cool down first.
It's down there. I ordered bearings and I ordered little ball bearings over the internet and put in it.
So you're gonna fix it up? So you think you can?
I got it fixed up, but it cranks kind of rough. The bearings. The bearing was all right, but the seat, the race that they run in,
Yeah.
a little pitted, so it's, I keep squirting oil in there. But it turns and blows pretty good air.
So the doomsday preppers, if they wanted to work steel, they'd have to get some coal. Is that right?
Yeah, we'd have to go up on the hill up there and find that outcrop.
Okay, well, these, I'm taking notes here. Yeah, Chris was saying today if an EMP goes off, that wood splitter.
Yeah, the old
Still
engine
in.
on the. I think that's the only engine around that still just has a regular carburetor, and it's not susceptible. It doesn't have any electronics in it. It's an old.
It's got
Right.
a magnet. It's a magnet and wires.
Would that be susceptible to any?
I don't know. I don't know.
I thought it was just like the electronics in the newer old engines that would.
But that's what
Right.
makes the spark for the spark plug,
Yeah,
the mag.
I think that would be okay. So they could fry all of our engines, but if you've got an old technology, enough of them, it's old enough, old school, it would still work, right?
Well, the old engine in the tractor, the lawnmower up there.
I got my
Oh.
2 terabyte memory, and I'm getting an old ammunition box to keep it in case there's an EMT. What do you think?
Yeah.
You're gonna bury it.
Huh? Yeah, I should bury it
The thing is,
because I won't have anything to play it on if it's.
Well, you know what I heard over the news?
Was it?
This millionaire or billionaire or something out in New Mexico or some out there someplace. He hid, I think, $200,000 worth of gold coins and rubies and stuff out in the mountains. And he said the reason he done that is to get kids, and I forget how many people goes out there and hunts for it, but to get people away from their TVs and
oh,
out
really?
in the countries. That's why he done it.
Does he give him any clues or anything?
I
Or
don't
just-
know.
it's
That's
out
all
there
I heard
somewhere?
on the radio. That he
Probably just made it up.
Yeah, right.
Just to get it out there. He might have just made it up.
Oh well, no. Well, I guess he could have, but I don't know. Evidently, there's a lot of people who don't believe that he did.
Well, boy, that's interesting.
I forget there are a bunch of people out there looking for it. He was supposed to be hid out there.
Oh, I could see getting just. I would go cuckoo if I started finding stuff that was worth money. I could see getting a gold fever. Either, mining like that, or the guys that go out and look for treasure. They know those old ships are out there. They know there's
Well,
billions
they're
of dollars
finding a lot
worth
of
of
them,
gold
aren't they?
and stuff out
Are
there,
they?
and they have those ships and get the investors and go looking for those wrecks. And God, that would be so.
But they
great.
don't get to keep that money.
They don't.
No. They got to turn that all in.
No,
The heck do you do?
Well, why do they do it then?
Well,
they don't have to turn it in. That would defeat the
that
whole
does not
incentive for
become
doing it.
them. That don't become their. It's not finders keepers, losers reapers.
So the money that was headed to Spain in 1712 has to
Belongs
go
to
back
somebody, and that's who the money is. Whoever gets it.
Wow.
Spain. Has to give it back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't look at the.
That's the
price.
way. That's the way with. When they had that big flood in the river down here, in the little canal, and Richard had a whole bunch of pipe, plastic pipe rolled up in the coils, and it was all kinds of it took down the river, and it was hanging in trees, clear to Grantsville, so. And people was getting that pipe, out of them trees and scavenged along there, and if they was caught with it, they were fined.
Yeah, but that was just a few days. We're talking years here.
Well,
Yeah,
what
maybe
makes
we
a
should-
difference? There's no statute
What
of
if it was
limitations.
stolen? What if it was like?
Then the government gets it.
Well, the government gets whatever they want.
Oh, we
Well,
should-
listen, you know the money. When I found out, and I thought, well, like Ed Broom bought that oil down there, and he paid $1,000 for it,
Yeah.
and the taxes was only $200, whatever. I figured, well, that $800 would be divided
Yeah,
between us.
yeah. What's the deal?
And that ain't the way it is. That $1,000, okay. How much did he pay for it? Yeah, now I forget. Anyway, the money he paid for it, the taxes was $200, and he paid the $1,000. $200 of that goes in to pay the taxes, okay, for the state. That $800 is put in a separate account over here. So if we renew it, or
Buy it back in.
get it back in, he gets his $800 back.
Okay.
If we don't buy it back in, that $800 goes to the state. I don't want, what that, you know,
They got it covered anyway. Kind of lost our freedom in a way, haven't we?
Big time.
Yeah, big time.
I think there's a lot of waking up to do.
Now, I'll tell you the guy I like Ted Cruz. I like Rand Paul, I like Ted Cruz.
I don't know that much about Ted Cruz.
He's,
I just like Rand Paul.
Yeah, Rand Paul is good, but Ted Cruz, one of the things that he's never done is walk back from anything.
Cruz?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't-
he's
I really
just
don't.
Very consistent. He's a good guy.
You don't,
Keep your eyeball on him. He's a good guy.
Christie, I wouldn't vote for Christie for dog catcher. That guy is just, and Jeb Bush, he
Yeah.
might be the best person in the world, but he ain't getting no vote of mine.
Yep.
I'm disagree with his mother. There's been enough Bushers in there. It's
that
time
what
for
she
somebody else. Yeah,
His mother said that?
That's what I'm
yeah,
asking.
she
Yeah.
did.
Well, I was under the impression too that it was Jeb all along that was supposed to be president.
Well, that's what everybody said, but,
That was like the, how, anyhow, yeah. He was tied up or something, right? And, cause he was, I don't know how it went, but.
I like Bobby Jindal.
Jindo, he's too weird looking. I wouldn't want a president like that.
Come on, he's a
Wow,
brown,
he
he's,
looks like some little alien come on the planet.
he's a brown guy.
Don't
He's
he
a-
don't he look like that? There,
Why not?
one that they had where was out the west of that? Where was that?
Roswell?
Roswell. He looked like a Roswell guy.
I'm not sure I know who you're talking about. I don't know if I've seen it.
Chico from Alabama, those dark colored. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
when
he's
you
black.
look at him, you think he should talk like this.
Oh.
kind of like an Indian,
Yeah, you,
like Apu on The Simpsons. He's Indian. Yeah, I can.
yeah, I don't know about it. They wait till they get in there and badmouth each other though.
Yeah.
What about Fiona?
Who?
She screwed up HP.
Did she?
Yeah. But because she's a woman, she gets a pass on it, is what I kind of think. Yeah, HP, when she took over, went in the toilet. And only dug out after she left. So, some way, people just don't carry the baggage for what they do, though, you know? So, it just kind of goes away. Well, guys, I'm getting tired. How's Richard doing? Has he stopped down at all?
Pettit?
Yeah.
Shoot, I ain't seen him. He was here about around deer season, wasn't he?
When was it? Okay.
Last fall. That's the last time I've seen him. Every now and then we run into him down at Foodland, but haven't for a long time.
Yeah. I really feel sorry for that guy. But he doesn't have to take care of Jenna now. With the
I
Lyme's
thought that
disease.
same thing. I thought,
Did he?
boy, you got out there just in time. I mean, poor girl, I don't want to be sick or nothing.
Did you hear about her Lyme challenge she put out on her website?
Her what?
Lyme challenge. Remember the ice bucket challenge?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember the ice?
Yeah, that where they dump ice water over her head.
Yeah, and then you gave to Lou Gehrig's disease thing. So her Lyme challenge is you video record something you say about Lyme's disease. You have to tell people something you learned about Lyme disease, and then you bite into a Lyme. That's the Lyme challenge. I thought that was pretty clever. Yeah.
So she's gonna compile this on the web and
Well,
display it or
she
something?
started to already. It's not going as big as the ice bucket challenge, but it's I thought it was pretty clever. But what's funny is Ava, Misty's little girl. I was up there and they showed me the picture of her, and I never saw a shiver like she had in my life. She took a bite of that lime and her body went. I mean, side to side. It was really amazing. So anyway, I might challenge her to the ice bucket challenge. Do you know anybody that's ever got Lyme's disease down here? Except for Jenna?
I'm pretty sure they think she got that at one of the parks up in the mountains, I think.
You know the
Well,
irony.
that's where she's thinking she might have picked it up.
Yeah, the irony is, it could be she got it at her wedding. Because they had it out in the sticks way back at this place that
Yeah, I
John
think
likes
that's,
to go.
I think that's where she.
And it was pretty incredible.
Wow.
So, I mean, what irony it would be.
Yeah.
But I guess old John's kind of taking it good.
John's taking what?
Taking it good, I think is what he said.
Well, hope she found somebody that she can put up with.
Debbie and Kurt are saying that there's a bit of a conspiracy about Lyme's disease. That the state doesn't want the negative press.
Oh, did
They're afraid it'll scare people away from coming to West Virginia. So that people don't get the support that they could. Which you
Well,
never
life
know.
is good.
No, my understanding that guy that stopped there and talked to Kurt,
Who is this now?
there was I don't know if I think he was from forestry department.
I thought that's what he said.
Yeah. And
Would it be follow-up from the timbering that was under the forestry program that he was looking at?
no, they have a GPS coordinate.
Oh, that wanted to talk to you about the land. Yeah, coming on the property.
Yeah, I talked to Kurt, but he
Yeah,
gave me a
yeah.
little folder,
Yeah.
and they do a GPS coordinate, and then they do two more. It covers an acre or half acre. But anyway, my understanding it was three of them. There's a main one and then